Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the PCS here for the Summer Split. My name is Hysterics. I'm joined by Mr. Clement Chu. Sponsored by CBC Bank is the PCS. Big thank you out to Riot Games, Carry Live, and Garena for the operation and full production of the league as we run into our next game. Game number 4. And Clement, it is PSG versus Meta Falcon team. Meta Falcon team can sit back and breathe easy for the time being. They are locked into playoffs, but with what we saw a little bit earlier against J-Team, I don't know how comfortable you want to be, especially against PSG, who are currently second place.
I think coming into this matchup, actually the bigger question on is what PSG going to play. Because in their last game, they did drop to Frank Esports, and they tried something rather unorthodox for the team. In the previous games, it's always been, hey, if Azir is open, let's just lock it for Gory. But PSG went, no, we got to practice the Talia. They actually took the Talia blind first, and it didn't really work out. So I'm very curious to see if PSG are going to double down on more tempo-oriented team compositions like what we've seen from DCG, or are they still going to stick with, Senna Azir or these Aphelios Azir competitions?
Yeah, slower we know PSG are not the fastest team in the league, but we also know that the meta is gearing up towards speeding up Clement, especially in 12-14. We're not there yet, but, I assume we will be. And 12-14 is going to be a faster patch with Dragons having more value.
Yeah.
With people talking about Caitlyn Lux, you cannot get away with playing these slower games when the games usually end at 25, 30 minutes in. So I'm really curious to see how PSG adapt, and especially when you talk about this roster, they've adapted with Bury and Gory coming in. We've talked about it a lot on many different broadcasts. Bury and Gory have been, playing well. I think Gory especially, right, has kind of been a focus throughout the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I feel like his Azir and Sylas are still the best that we've seen out of the entire league. There's a lot of Sylas players. I think Gory's definitely there. He's probably our best playmaker overall. And Bury actually, interestingly enough, showed us a very good Lee Sin in one of the earlier games. So PSG have the ability to switch it up, but will they invest in it is the question.
Well, for Meta Falcon team, second time seeing them today due to the fact J-Team weren't able to play last week. So means that Meta Falcon team flip the coin and are playing 2 games themselves. Now, what we saw a little bit earlier on today, Clement, we saw, Hong 2 in such a great position, 665 as well on his Viego. They threw it all away, and it was such a shame after what a great early game they had. And as we look at junglers in this one, Bury is going to be, a more passive version of Kongyue?
I feel like it's kind of hard to call him a more passive version of Kongyue. First of all, I want to commend Bury on first of all participation rate super high, actually through the roof here. Of course, it does have to do with each team's tempo. If you play a little bit slower, then the jungle participation might be a little bit higher there for sure. But he's definitely done a great job in team fights. He's much more about keeping away. I think Xin Zhao is still the go-to pick because it's a great duelist, and in team fights you can just knock people away from your backline. On the other hand, 665, his most play has, interestingly enough, been the Poppy. I don't think it's fit him super well, but I would say his Viego has always been rather successful when we've seen it happen. So I do think MFT are going to stick to a very similar strategy that we saw in the J-Team game, which is playing a rundown composition. They've always been known to favor these wombo combo-ish, sort of charge at you brawler-esque comps, and I think that's what they're going to stick with.
Well, I hope so, because we get into one element already taken away. Sylas banned by MFT, Talia as well. Some of those targeted mid bans, yeah. I was going to say, Clement, in this series, we know there's going to be a lot of mid lane bans as well, especially with how Hongju played in the last game, but more so the fact that Gory has what I would say is a limited champion pool. Sylas is one of his most played. He's played Corki before, but people have walked away from that. Azir is something else that teams are just not willing to give to Gory as well, after his pretty good game the other week.
I think the interesting thing is, I wouldn't say he has a limited champion pool, but he hasn't been required to get out of his comfort zone. He realistically is someone who I think is so good on his core champions that he could just play 4 champions throughout the split and be perfectly fine. The only dud I would say is probably the Yone that we saw earlier on. So PSG are taking away a lot from 665, a lot of the counter options from 665. So I see PSG as still going for a rather aggressive composition here. If you take away the Wukong and the Poppy, it makes charging people down with the Sivir quite easy.
as we get a Viego final ban. I mean, for 665, we're just complimenting how
Weird.
that champion suits him so well. Yeah, you limit options even more on PSG. What, do you just first pick Xin Zhao now, Clement? Like, or do you pick the champion we're just talking about and just get us in?
I'm a little bit heartbroken if they go down this path. I totally understand it. Not my cup of tea. I feel like PSG, you know, it's happened this split where they kind of dip their toes in the water. They find like the temperature's a little bit too low and they just hop on out of the pool. I feel like they need to actually get in the water and just stay there and make sure they can ride the waves, so to speak, with some of these other compositions. But they're going for a comfort comp for sure. And this is spicy from MFT. You know, one of the old school Azir counters being flashed, and then never mind Aphelios.
Well, let's just say, I mean, Hoppers always show us a bit of an insight into what's being talked about, right? Aphelios, Renata's actually open as well. Are we actually going to get Azir Corki? You would have to be joking, Clement, especially from Hong 2. We know he's a more controlled player, but things like Silas, Vega, Seraphine have come out. I don't want to see Corki again. Oh, God. Save
Well,
me.
it looks like MFT are going to try to fight
Slower.
Yeah, it's not fire for sure. It's it's
Water
gonna be
with
two
water.
glacial powers just butting heads here.
Oh, I like that.
Both of them gearing up for rather slow fights here. I think the Sivir is kind of the go-to answer. If MFT are gonna play slow, they're even gonna give you Sivir. You just take that one away. There's no Lucian that can counter you at this point. Have at it.
Okay. What support, Clement? There's no Yumi available. We've seen, I don't know if we've seen Renata's paired with this. Like, what works for you? Or do you just go jungle?
A lot of things actually work for me. I actually like Lulu here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it gives you attack speed buffs to both champions. You know, helps you run down and tank exactly. Like if you have a Xin Zhao with the Lulu next to it, it's actually a very strong combination. I'm a little bit curious though because I don't see Kaiwing as a big Lulu player. Yes, Drab played it a couple times, but usually with the Aphelios. So we'll see if it's on the cards.
Yeah, Kaiwing is someone who you think about the Nautilus, the Tom Kench. Even Renata's been played by him as well, so I wonder about the direction here as Lulu is just given over to Meta Falcon team. There are so many Aphelioses that would like that as a partnership. Skarner instead is the left turn into right turn, into left turn, into we're back where we came from, into what neighborhood are we in, Clement? Because there's a bloody Skarner here.
Interesting. I mean, Skarner has pretty good gank patterns against the Sivir. It's very easy to close distance with her. And you have so many abilities that you're not really that worried about the spell shield. You're constantly spamming the Crystal Slash anyway. I could see it being a good answer. It's also like a tanky champion in the later phases of the game with guaranteed engage. So if it gets ahead, you can force people to play the Skarner attacks, and you can also just snowball off of it. We just haven't seen it though. Like I feel like this is definitely a fringe pick. Maybe we're gonna get some surprises. But 665 has better know this champion inside and out to make it work.
It's crazy because we only saw it. I actually casted a game the other week versus Poppy, and it was Tarzan on LNG who took it versus Poppy pick. Clement, fun fact by the way, I saw Skarner impale and Poppy hammered him away at the same time.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, they both went
replay.
flying. It was so good. But yeah, only once in the LPL, and LPL, again, 7 days a week, when you have best of threes, you think, oh, picks like this will come out more often. You said it's a fringe pick, couldn't agree with you more, as we start getting rid of some of the champions to, I guess, mitigate part of Skarner, GP, there on the side of Meta Falcon team, set up top side as a safety net. How do you run with Skarner now? Like, how do you bridge this comp, Clement?
I feel like if you want to play the Skarner, you really want one lane that has a guaranteed crowd control that can help you just constantly get those kills. You want to repeat gank very frequently. You don't want to fight big skirmishes because Skarner is pretty much a single target tank champion. So you actually want him more in those kind of skirmish-esque situations. Maybe MFT are looking at this two-man game in the top side as their best bet. However, I'm not so sold on the idea. I feel like the champions that he has on the board are actually quite slow. I don't feel like a lot of these are, snowball-esque lanes that you necessarily want to run with.
You talk about having CC in lane. So far, none. Gravitum, conditional. You get a slow from Gwen, thanks to needlework. Okay. I guess we need some kind of CC support here as PSG have gone the complete other direction. No single target CC from them. They're AoE engaged, Clement. If this gets locked in, oh my god, is this a front to back?
Yeah, and we have to remember that Corki was also nerfed on this patch, losing a lot of damage on those level 5 rockets. Not level 5, level 3 rockets. So, I'm not sure about the MFT comp. This feels like a game where they know that their chances of winning are rather slim, and they're just going all in.
Huh. Trundle support. Run Hailer Blade. There's your CC, Clement. What adds into Impale? A pillar. A pillar? Impale? Okay. Do you like it now? Not really, but can you learn to like it?
I'm just not sure what this comp actually does. I really don't know. Wait, are they switching up the positions too?
Let's see.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Because my biggest curiosity, right, is it is going to be a Trundle support. It has to be a Trundle support. I wonder if it's Hailer Blade's Guardian, but anyway. Clement, does it pick? Does it... It has scaling. It doesn't outscale, though, because there's Ornn on the other side. You're the color caster. Why am I trying to help you? You do it.
Okay.
Help me.
This is a kill bot lane over and over again. Basically, that's the composition that they're running for. The Trundle's actually a decent pick into something like a Leona. You can steal her defenses. You can be tankier than she is and chop her down that way. Also very good against Sivir because she's low range. You can actually just flash and trade flashes. So the Trundle pick itself is not terrible per se, but it does have limited uses. You basically have to it's a pick that does have to snowball quite a bit to make it work. And I will mention that Trundle actually was first picked professionally as a support in the LMS, so this is a pick that we have a bit of a long tradition with. Started with Dreamer really early on. It has surprisingly strong trades in lane. I think level 6 you can definitely gank with it. And it's going to be hard for Sivir and Leona to get away from the pillar. They don't actually have skills to get away, move across the pillar.
Remember as well, you get it dead in center, and that knock-up as well still sends you flying. I will say, Clement, this is a pick I spent a lot of time on when I was playing in China in solo queue. Hailer Blaze is what I took. As you said, strong trades. Auto Q auto in an instant, and half health they go. What is it? Oh, it's Guardian. Disappointing, but hey, he's still got Ignite, and as you said, should be an easier lane for him to play through as we actually got Phase Rush on 665 as well in the Skarner.
Yeah, so, gank-oriented choice here. I definitely see MFT as just setting up as let's kill Unified over and over again, and hopefully win that. This is pretty much an anti-Sivir comp. That's the way I would read it. I'm not sure how the rest of the pieces tie together. Maybe they don't need to tie together. Like, they deal enough damage late game where they can feel happy for this. But overall, PSG definitely with the stronger front-to-back composition. They have the Ornn, they have the Zinzel Leona. So this front line is insane. And if they can just push through, they've got great damage options later as well. So I think MFT's composition is trickier. They have a semi-pick, semi-poke composition where I feel like for most of their plays to work, it has to start off with the Impale just taking someone right up.
True. Impale or Pillar, one or the other, leading into another. As Red Buff's going to be started here, 65 is on a ward, so Furry just walked on in, dropped one down, and it means they're going to know exactly what this Skarner is. The top side clear, pathing towards the bottom side as Hanabi starts off in a very good way, Clement. We haven't seen too much Ornn in the East this year. Actually, year is correct, right?
Yeah.
But, Hanabi is the first person I think of as, like, tank frontline player in the PCS, in LPL. Like, I'd put him first.
Yeah, in terms of, like, a pure tank player, Hanabi's definitely there. I played a lot of the Ornn, despite everyone just kind of glossing over it. After the nerfs, the damage numbers are down, the HP numbers are down. It really doesn't feel like the same champion as before. Definitely not an instant lock. So it's kind of interesting to see him favor this one as much as he does. But coming back into this game, taking a look at the lanes here, things are progressing as the way we would imagine. The Trundle bot lane, very, very strong. Basically means that Leona cannot go aggressive for the most part. So they do get lane push. In the meantime, Gory, as always, against Corki. Corki has super weak early game, even with the Gatling gun buffs. So he's just gonna have to stay there and kind of take the poke.
I mean, he's just walking in every time to the Azir's ultra range. Gory with Comet as well. You know, you can see he's focused on the laning phases. Clement, we also forgot to mention, not much Ascana can really do, especially to an Azir as Hong2, flash away. Is he gonna get solid kill? He is. It's a trade, but I mean, Hong2 kind of deserved that.
Yeah, he did. He walked in a little too many times, and I like the calculations right here. You know, the kill does go over, in fact, to 2665. So that's actually even worse for Hong2. He preferably would have wanted to get that kill, but of course, 665 getting the assist does give a little bit more overall gold. Still the right play there. And I do want to note that 665 actually burned his flash for that, so he's now running on X-Flash.
X-Flash Scarter, okay. I'm not sure I have seen the likes of before, Clement, but then again, we don't really see Scarter that much. To be fair, when we're seeing it so much on Poppy with the engages, I feel like that's going to be a nice touch. At the very least, with that kill onto Scarter, sorry, I get really distracted because every time, does no one tell Taco his camera's too close? As Hong, welcome back to the lane. Okay, walk back in for a phosphorus bomb. Not really worth it. He just burnt TP. Forget my point about the camera. Forget my point about the Skarner. It doesn't matter because Hong2 is just losing lane so hard now, Clement.
Yeah, the second consecutive back here. The lane positioning is terrible. And this is great stuff from Gory, just transferring a small lead into a big lead. On the other hand, I will say that Taco actually has a really good trade against Hanabi. And I think it's time to remind everyone that Taco actually 1v2'd Gory and Hanabi on his Jax game. Some amazing play coming out from Taco. Definitely my player to watch coming into this one as well. And that's why he's so close to the monitor. It actually gives him an advantage.
Oh. Okay, well now I know. That's why I can't get out of gold, Clement. That's my problem, man. I gotta get closer to the monitor. Hey, Hong2 is a level behind Gory now, just worth mentioning. CS as it crashes in, we are once again going to see this poke just rain down. Double Amp Tome versus Tier is Issue now making the roam, but a good ward placed by PSG means that Gory can just play back and should be fine.
And I love how PSG has actually played against this kill lane from MFT. They've just held the tower right in front of them for most of this time. Went back, Noon Quiver. They're even up 12 CS at this point. It was super well done by Unified Dive.
Bury's here, the Fraction not connecting. I mean, 65 just stand there for a bit. Still the engage from PSG as they want to kill Issue. This Trundle flashes out as Ghost is also popped. It's flashed down and, well, there you go. Summon a trade, but not for the better as Gory will come back and he's still bullying Hong2. This early game from Meta Falcon team, Clement, not looking good.
No, not at all. What we saw from the bot lane was actually the pillar a bit misplaced.
Not for the Spires. Okay, Issue and Whale are coming in. Bury's running. Bury. Okay, he's dead. But Whale should be too, right? Yeah, Issue as well as Spectator Bug with the flash and 665 without an impale. Taco's now come down with the TP though as they work into a 1v3. 665 can't contribute too much, but at least he's taken out Gory and Unified now the next target when all she needs is that 6 and apparently relevant enough to take over a game.
Taco gonna give some PSG fans PTSD here as he charges in with the TP. No response from Manabi on the other side. He actually just stayed in lane for that one. A bit of a weird start from Bury. I feel like he could have accomplished the same without, you know...
1v3?
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of a weird play. He also held on to his flash. I'm not sure what happened there. That almost looked like a DC to me, but... yeah, we'll get confirmation later on. MFT definitely with a big win here, so we'll watch that again. Furry goes in, and it looks like he's just trying to keep everyone here. So, yeah, targets on Whale, and to be fair, Whale does die a little bit too easily there, as Unified also flashes across, and a great play from Taco. You rarely think about these early teleports anymore. Goes to his own tower, and then goes into the fray to cut down both carries here. So, massive play from Taco.
Cleans up, no one able to do any damage to him. With that double kill up in the top side, things might get a little bit harder for Hanabi. And, you know, we come back from the play. Gory is still ahead, but Clement, I feel like that did a lot for Meta Falcon team to stem the bleeding. That was not only coming through mid, but that just felt like it was coming through the fact that the jungler, 3-6, wasn't able to do much.
Exactly, and this is huge because it gives them a solid solo lane to push through. And we all know, like, once you're stuck underneath the tower, it's time to impale. It's very hard to get away from the Skarner that can stun lock you, just drag you out of range, and then do whatever he wants with you. So I feel like this gives MFT a solid way to play through. However, their 5v5 fight is still quite difficult with home 2 behind, and just with the lack of general AoE coming from the top.
Impale is available, as you said, but PSG were on this objective first, while 65 was clearing out his topside camps. So Herald goes down while Whale at least staying down. A good call from the bottom lane. Where's the perfect guns to just take down some free plating as a response.
Yeah, can get one right there. And we should be starting to see those impales come through. I'm really wondering where 665 is going to travel. Again, I think bot lane's probably the best place to go for it. This Leona not running Aftershock, actually very prone to just getting focused down by Trundle and 665 right here. So I expect them to go into the bot side just because of the lane matchup. They can shove out this bot lane when they want to here as well. So I feel like that's the most, probably the easiest place for them to find some action with this Skarner.
As well, takes a big trade. I mean, Bury with the Herald in hand as well. Looking pretty adamantly here at this bottom side as 665, as he clears away his blue buff. Bury's probably going to be spotted as he takes away the Crystal Spire. Yes, he does. Just transferring the blue buff in the meantime and heading up towards his top side. So Herald held on to for the time being. Maybe Clement, the blue buff, will help Hongsu.
Yeah, it should help him push this wave out a little bit more. He's been shoved in this entire time. Don't think PSG are going to commit too much to this tower shove. Just try to see if they can get some damage off here. That should be all. And yep, PSG just going back to standard setups. They have a lot of vision around the bottom side. That is, I think, the most important thing about their map control so far. PSG, they've seen it all. They know exactly what the MFT comp wants to do.
Yep.
And they're making it very difficult to execute.
As you said, slower game favoring PSG, especially with the front to back. 665 is now looking for those picks with the Impale. Has yet to use his ultimate, as we've been at this 6-7 point for quite a while now. Still hovering around mid as well, Clement, and that's just such a hard lane to gank. Like, Flash, Shifting Sands available. Azir is not the easiest target.
I'm definitely going to require a flash in most instances to nail down here. Meanwhile, PSG might be going for a bait themselves.
As ulti comes through, okay, the
Flash
ulti
in.
response, and the flash, the ignite down. Gory helps Kywin get the kill, as now with the Impale, Gory is going to be coming over here as he's suppressed for a while, but Chilling Smite, the flash away. Gory is now building the spaces. Issue commit.
Can he get the jump?
In range, no, Gory goes back in. The shield from Shifting Sands. You love to see it.
Yeah, really cool play right there. Ballsy play from Gory, knowing that he's not going to fall down after the shield is there. And I think you can tell the problem with that combo. It just felt like a, the Skarner or Corki is definitely not a combo in itself. It took so long for Skarner to even deal damage to the Azir. In the meantime, Hongtu was already dead. So, it's kind of a, that's the thing about this combo. I didn't like all that much. I feel like the Skarner setup is very hard to create.
Yeah, as you said, where's the CC? We'll watch again because problem starts where Hongtu just gets bursted out the half moment. As
He's trying to bait. He wanted that Azir right there. What he didn't think of is Skywing was also waiting in the other brush. And watch this, 665 It's gory, it's so late, and honestly, Issue's pillars have not been that great. I think he tends to drop the pillars a little too early. In the bot lane gank, we saw that as well. He actually had to flash away from his own pillar, and Gory with that sweet turnaround cleanup.
And Barry with the slow and wind becomes lightning as well. Otherwise Issue probably gets a second auto. So, Issue not getting the trade kill, dying under turret. Gory gets the kill now with Ludens as well. Pure damage out of this Azir. What else would we expect? But still, penetration against a Cult that doesn't really have a hard front line at the moment, considering that there is a chem tank, yes, but Clement, we know it's going to be about this lane continuing on. A Hong 2. Look at the item differential and how much will Hex Drinker help him.
Some nice moves here by Gory as he gets the poke. Just point blank. Yeah, kind of mispronounced that. Some nice moves.
Dude, hooves is that? It's a bird. I know birds don't have hooves.
They have talons.
They do have talons.
Just like PSG talons.
Okay, all right. You linked it some way. That's what matters, dude. Don't worry about it. Hey, okay. I prefer hooves anyway. I'll come back to your point because as we just keep seeing turret planing going down, as we see PSG's laning phase really dominating MFT in all but top lane. You talked a little bit before about Hong 2 on this Corki, and we are seeing Corki's change build. We're going back to the AD build, Clement, and already got a Caulfield's Warhammer, so expecting that here again.
Yeah, it does seem like the Mirror Mana is going to come in very, very soon here. And just looking at it, I'm trying to think how MFT want to play this out. Hanabi is behind for sure, but he's really not that far behind. It's not been possible for Taco to actually take down these turret platings. So I feel like MFT's best chance is actually to come to these fights proactively.
We've got the pick onto Gory. Everyone's here this time, but the Emperor's divided and he's still alive. The pillar gives him more space as the Moonlight Vigil doesn't kill him. Oh, Meta Falcon team, not enough damage yet.
Yeah, I feel like 665 was way too far ahead of the pack for that one to work out. It took him 3 or 5 seconds, not 3 seconds, but it took him 2 seconds at the very least for the rest of MFT members to even be able to deal damage to Corey. And at that point, he's able to get out scot-free.
Turret safe top side. Meta Falcon team now almost behind 2,000 gold. That play just showing some of the issues we highlighted here. And Clement, remember the Taco not with them too.
Yeah.
The most fed member on the team right now outside of 665.
So we'll see how MFT do. I feel like they need to have Taco at the start of the fight. That's the most important thing. He's the most fed member. He's got the needlework to chase people down. We'll watch this again, but just look at how long it takes for 665 to actually catch up, use the ultimate, and then drag him back. It took an eternity. He gets a 4-man divide, Emperor's Divide, survives afterwards, and PSG are able to use that opportunity to continue to shove down towers, take objective.
And they've also picked up one of those dragons. When PSG are the front-to-back team fighting team, Clement, I have a lot of faith that delaying this dragon stack, especially when it's a Hex Tech Soul, this team might not have CC, but imagine them with a Hex Tech Soul. Meta Falcon team might have more tools then. Still, it's going to be delayed out as well as we look towards the top side. Kaiwing moving into 665, who has the Impale yet again, but that fracture, the stun doesn't come through. They spotted out Burry over the wall with the lens, but PSG have numbers advantage for now, and it's going to be dropping down. Looking for maybe an inner, Clement.
Yep, they're going to drop this one for sure. And coming into the inner, I don't see how MFT play this. Corki's still so very far away. No TP here, so they know he's not coming. And PSG are just willing to charge down.
Solo player used. That's a bit of a miss. Hanabi's ulti, though, good on the back line as Rory just killed 665. Meta Falcon team stayed too long. A flash was burning.
Yeah.
That was just so much easier than I expected it.
I feel like if you're showing Hongtu in the bot lane like this, you can't really hope to defend a 5v4 with an Ornn up top and a Herald. The enemy is just going to take the tower too fast. MFT, if they were trying to feed the Corki, then they needed to back off. They can only play one side of the map at a time. They didn't really respect PSG, and they got duly punished.
Well, but look at Hanabi's purchase. Swiftness just picked up. He's like, I hate Gwen, I hate Skarner E-slow. Like, what else have we got? Trundle Pillar. I kind of
Such a
respect
weird
it.
buy.
It's weird, but do you really care with what we've seen in this game when PSG are probably laughing at the comp they're versing against? Do you care that much?
I read it a little bit differently. I think it's not, you know, crowd control. It's more like I want to escape in a very long side lane against Gwen. That's the general idea here. But yeah, still a weird purchase. Definitely not everyday ordinary purchase. We'll see how this one works out for him in the side lane. Meanwhile, I think MFT are actually committed to having someone split at all times. It seems like they're aiming for super late game on this one and just hoping that Corki is going to buy them through. They're not grouping up as 5, even though a taco group could in some cases give them a win. Instead, they're content at always splitting.
But they've taken package. That's the other thing that kind of perplexes me, Clement, because why did Hong2 take package if they weren't going to contest with this?
Because he can burn down Gromp, you know? You're coming from the LPL, you know that Bullfrog is very popular menu item there.
It's true.
Yeah,
you and I did have it, and I don't remember liking it too much, but I definitely tried it. As staying under turret, well, Gory's now here with the flash, and good timing from Whale, but Hong2's just going to die. Unified runs up as 665 is getting bullied by a Sun Goddess. Call the Fort God knocks him up, and 665 lucky to get the trade kill on Gory, but it's a beneficial one for PSG. As Taco's ulti hurts, but we end at that point, ladies and gentlemen. PSG are just making this look pretty secure right now, even only with the 2k gold lead.
Yeah, once again, I feel like MFT just gets caught wandering around objectives that they can't defend. MFT, once again, they're splitting up super far, but when the enemy groups, they don't actually have the ability to defend their towers anymore. Gory's reach is immense. He goes straight into the back line, and I feel like I actually feel like MFT kind of wasted the strength of that Taco 2-kill lead. Look at this here. The members are scattered across the map. They're still trying to hold on to this one. It ends up costing them both flashes on their carries, and Hong2 still dies here. And the return kill, if you look at it, it is super cool. Skarner has to come in. He has to burn a flash. Use his ultimate to take down what's like 300 HP on a Nazir. That's not particularly worth it.
The shutdown, but yeah, I mean, not worth it, because especially 665 the one picking it up, and right now we've seen Meta Falcon team aren't doing that much damage, as Taco even in the side lane, Gory is willing to challenge him. Thank God for Hex Gates, he says, as he goes right past PSG's member on the way out, but we had a second dragon taken in the replay. PSG now up here, as they've started off this Soul. And we've got Baron up on the map as well, but we know PSG right now. As you said, Clement, with this comp, front to back, nothing to force. You talked about ultra late game for Meta Falcon team, but PSG just in a similar position where they're comfortable letting this play out slowly.
Absolutely. I think they know how to play objectives a lot better, which means that they can find those front to backs much easier. And so far, MFT have not been catching PSG off guard. It's been the other way around. Gory has been catching MFT off guard. I just think it's an issue with how difficult 4-1 compositions are actually to play for these newer teams. There's a lot of coordination that goes into it, and PSG are just picking times when MFT are split to punish them. You can see that their defensive members are not alert enough to walk away from potential just 5-man engages from PSG.
There's been so many times where it's like, okay, Hong2 showing on the wave, you're talking about before with the topside play, you know, Taco as well in a side lane, but
and they still
even
die.
Like the package taken as well just kind of hurts to see where, well, Hong2 had a package and they didn't want to commit to the neutral anyway, so they're not going to have that for the next Dragon because Corki package time is now no longer synced with Dragon. It's going to be rough here, but I also wanted to point out, while we see Taco taking away a bit of a Hex Gate, that we have a AP Corki again. It's interesting to see, Clement, because Corki has been nerfed, as you were talking about with the Rockets. People are building AD now, but I guess Hong2 still wants that AP threat.
Yeah, the ratios have changed a little bit, but I feel like this is kind of an interesting build, more long-range poke-oriented than we usually get on the other side. I will say for MFT, they do have a win con in just Taco getting really dead. Obviously, the pros of being very split all the time is well, one of your carries is going to be picking a lot more farm, while PSG has to play the 5v4. So over time, you do that a couple times, then someone is going to be winning out massively on the side lane. That player looks like it's Taco. But I still feel like there are just one or two like big team fight losses away from letting PSG kind of run away with it. The game score is very much, the game goal is very close, but we have to remember most of it is tied down to Taco. So what that means is how the team fights are going to go is basically solely dependent on how Taco can get in the fights themselves.
He's got Void Staff now. Those ultis are still going to hurt, so maybe a bit of optimism here for MFT, 30 seconds out from the Dragon. But another piece of optimism for PSG is that Hanabi's close to 14, which means the start of those upgraded items, which means that gold value is going to be less and less indicative of what we see on our screens. 665 shown on the top side while Hong2 pushes out, and it could be that MFT just want to give up this next Dragon and try and get some more gold on the map.
Yeah, I don't think they can contest if they're close enough, and what it looks like is they want that Flame Horizon and Taco before they really commit to any big fights. See PSG already in this position already, and Gory just holding the top lane. I don't think they're going to play too aggressive up there, so it should just be a straight-up objective take.
Doesn't mean we got Soul coming up next, though. 5 minutes until it comes through, and I talked about it before for Meta Falcon team, Clement, for the lapses that we talked about with some of the parts in the draft. For PSG to have Hextech Soul on a Sivir and an Azir, like using that range we've already seen, that is going to be a nightmare.
Probably the best Soul you could run with this comp. You love that attack speed. You love to chase people down and keep them in range. So, yeah, it looks really hard for MFT here. I'm a little bit surprised that they're not trying to do more with the Stunner Taco combo. Sure, it's against Hanabi, but I'm pretty confident that Taco is packing the damage right now to cut down the Ornn.
I mean, look, he's got swiftness. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they saw that and like, we can't get that ulti against him. What's it going to do? But you have, alongside Impale, I mean, Skarner has double stun. Fracture as well when you auto. On that E, you get stunned. Impale as well, we know, is a suppression. So for Hanabi, he can only press a breath on the E. However, with Force of Nature now as well, he's got a bit more survivability. As we look at PSG gearing to the top side here, Clement, and Gory's just clearing out the wave, but Hong2 giving a bit of respect while 665 shadows for the time being.
The biggest difference here is that Unified is very far ahead. He's already gotten his triple crit items, one full item ahead of the Athelio, so we actually have to see MFT try to snipe AD carry somehow.
As 665, I mean, he has flash. They don't want a 50-50. This TP is going to be burned. That's what they want. 665 has teleported in. They're going to try and take the Baron as he's still there. Solomon locks him down. And Taco's ulti is huge. Kaiwing golden in the nick of time, though, as great as Unified gets out of the play. Hong2 now joining in as Gory is going for this Skarner jungle. As he pokes him out, Baron still stands, but a good attempt from Meta Falcon team, despite being behind, to try and stop that neutral.
Yeah, they put a lot of damage onto Bury. Taco over the wall lands 2 needleworks onto the Zinzao, forces him back, and PSG call it quits. They don't want to give MFT a Baron over, so they're not going to risk it. And I feel like MFT played it very well because it was Taco alone into the pit, and then the rest of the members could poke while still standing atop of the ramp. So PSG took a lot of damage trying to reestablish position right there, ultimately forcing them off.
And for PSG, I mean, this could be worrying. For Meta Falcon team, we know that pick is in their nature. The Rangers started to come through as well. Like, Hong2 for some reason has a bounty. As we might just be doing this dance yet again. PSG started up with only the Aphelios. Hong2's going to have to TP in for this Clement, and here we go once more. 6,
Bury
5,
keeping much healthier
4,
this time.
X-Flash 3. They're going to flip it this time. Solar Flare down. They're still doing the Baron, but 665 is just dead as Taco still has the needlework. Package used, but PSG get the Baron. As Bury drops Taco's final needlework. Not good enough. Well jumps in, but Gory now separates as he's by himself. It's so scattered from PSG. Team fighting in their name, but this one ain't looking as clean as Unified gets the auto, but Taco still with the chase down. Whale with the flash available. He needs to get that Infernum Q. Honda only one, but it's enough. Call the Forge God. used out, and Hanabi just to threaten as they run away with only 2 Baron buffs.
The key there definitely was Home 2. As he split the fight up, he basically took away Sivir's Ricochet ability. I don't think Ricochet did much in that fight at all. Everyone was so far away from each other. The Ricochets were not dealing damage to 2 carries at the same time. And we saw Whale, after coming from the right side, able to just snipe people down. So at the start of it, of course, the Baron does go over to PSG. Very early smite forced out by 665 just to stay alive here. But Taco does a great job, and so does Hongfu, at cutting up the map right here. You can see that it takes a while for PSG to decide where they want to go, and they split up in 2 different directions. Fight goes towards the top side, leaving Gory open, and yeah, they're able to clean up on that side, with Whale eventually coming back into the fray for that flash and the snipe onto the, I believe it was Severum. Yep, the Infernum snipe.
God, Clement. Loaded weapons.
Too many guns, I'm sorry.
It's alright, dude.
I feel ashamed as an American. I should know all the weapons there is.
Oh my god. Oh dear lord. Oh, it's too real. Okay, well, Taco is the person we looked at in the last fight. Clement, don't worry. You've got guns of your own. As you flex your biceps, we're going to have to try and see if Meta Falcon can do the same, because Taco's angle here is spotted out, but still such a threat as PSG trying to set up the Soul. We've got a stare off here, and Kaiwing now with the flank and Call the Forge God used in a 5v5, Clement. PSG is just going to have their easy fight. The Raid boss is down. A 2-man Solar Flare. Meta Falcon team without package, without the conversion of the pick. Clement, front to back. How easy does it look?
That was so smart from Hanabi. They had 665 in trouble, and they held onto their crowd control. Taco flew in to save his jungler, and then they released all of their CC, instantly killing the Gwen. They basically read Taco's mind right there. The most fed member off the table. The rest is just Sivir bait.
In our 22 kill game, that's Sivir now with upgraded Kraken Slayer as well, worth mentioning, because PSG just took that gold lead and took it to hell. PSG are going to get themselves a Hextech Soul, excuse me, in the meantime as well. And that feels like it could be the nail for Meta Falcon team in this very strange game, Clement, as that Baron buff actually had an insane play in the end as we look at this team fight again.
Yeah, so at the start of it, 665 gets caught, and look, everyone waits for their critical crowd control. They use it on Taco. Once he gets down, everyone pounces. They take the most fed member off, and the rest they can chase down with ease. Nothing Whale can do right there as he just gets pinned against the wall. They get all of the stragglers there too. So, yeah, just great teamfight execution. Love the ability for PSG to split-second flex on the target aggro.
It's PSG in a team fight. The last one didn't look too great, but hey, you got to give it to PSG. When they get towards this point in the game, we know how this team works as a 5-man unit. It's a very PSG-style composition as well. Hanabi frontline. You know, new members like Gory, sure, it's a new PSG, but Gory is still facilitating. God, why is English so hard? That role. And Unified doing the same thing here on the Sivir. Now 4 items, more on Malmortius. But look at Gory. 8, 4, and 5 on this Azir. Now has himself the Eye of Luden as well. And a Rabadon's Death Cap. Gory is huge.
Monstrous for sure. Taco, in the meantime, heading towards his Flame Horizon, but I think it's a little bit too late. He hasn't been able to get any alone time with the Silent Towers before PSG just straight up opens on the rest of the teams. And I think if you look at MFT and their 4-man defensive comp right now, it's primarily relying on 665's Impale to stop people from just engaging.
Yeah.
I feel like PSG can still walk in and do it regardless. If Taco isn't there, instant scoop into the backline and they can start killing.
And look how hard it'll get, right? Banshees fail, stopwatch. You know, a lot of things to pay for. I'm even looking at the lack of respect from PSG on the other side, though, because there's no QSS. No one has played the SCART attacks, and to be fair, Clement, with how far ahead they are and with all the tools, I guess you don't have to care about it when 665 has ulted, what, twice or 3 times in this game?
I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
And not in the team fights, so
True.
I think that shows you all you need to know. In the previous 2 team fights, it was basically instant kills. It's So that's a problem with the Skarnar. You know, I feel like his damage profile is very single target. He's very much about pick. He doesn't really serve as a frontline tank all that much. And we see the weakness of this champion. You know, if he gets ahead, he's very annoying. If he gets behind, it kind of feels like a super mini.
It was a fun attempt from MFT. It's 5k gold lead, but look, as his ward goes down, package is there. He's got a GA, but Hongtu steps up and almost dies from Unified and Gory in one fell swoop. He has to back away with that package as Baron now respawns, and TP is going to be how Hongtu tries to flip this game.
Yep, he is going to have a TP position to come back into this one, and 665 does have his flash as well, so yeah, I feel like PSG need to bait into the river and then do the turnaround.
I mean, waiting for Hongtu's package to come through in this choke. Hanabi is the one standing front line, and Taco going to come over the wall, but he's aiming at the tanks. Look at the damage. They're the ones off on the right wing, Clement, as PSG with a Hextech Soul and a Wormfall and Sacrifice. Unified makes that sacrifice complete with a whale. As Hongtu is running for his life, the GA comes to. Gory is one-shotting. You decided to give this mid laner Azir, and you will pay the price.
I'm not so sure about that charge in by MFT. I don't think anyone thought about how Whale was supposed to play that team fight. So you have Taco and Hongtu going in into the brush where they have no vision. Very easy for PSG to kind of just fan out, cut away the backline from MFT, and then just deal with the targets that have rushed
issue next.
competition.
Issue next, and Issue's dead. Oh my god, Gory, Nexus exposed. Meta Falcon team, you had a bit of fun with the draft, but when you're looking at PSG on so much comfort, this is the result. Whale goes golden. That Azir was free hitting at the end of that game. That was disgusting.
He truly was the Emperor. 13 kills for Gory in that one. Found massive engages. This, I just feel like this was a weird composition for MFT to go for. I don't really see the synergy of where Skarner was supposed to gank over and over again. Yes, Trundle is great against the champions that are there, but he doesn't really facilitate ganks all that much. We're going to watch the last team fight. I feel like MFT did overstep their bounds right here. PSG did the smart thing. They walked back, waited for MFT to engage, give themselves a much better choke to kind of hold over, with Bury trying to bait with the honey fruit. Probably baiting a little bit too much. You see Taco going into the backline, but the problem here is Unified isn't really so they're trying to take down Bury, which is the tank here, and Hanabi, also the tankiest member, and then Whale still can't get into the fight. So I just feel like PSG outsmarted MFT with the setup in this team fight. They baited their opposition into this choke where they had all the advantages, the positioning advantages, the tanks versus their carries, and the mages versus their ADs. The positioning was beautiful, and MFT just ran straight into that one.
Smart team fighting. I mean, what more do you expect here at this point from PSG Talon? Still trying to recover up from their loss against Frank Esports, where they lost that top tier position. Now tied up with Deep Cross Gaming. Excuse me. And PSG Club, you know, we saw this draft and we're like, well, okay, Azir first pick. Classic Gory, right? He's now 5-0 on the pick. 6-0 on the pick. And has like an over 12, 13, 14 KDA. And I think for PSG, we know strong DPS, put Hanabi on a front line, whether it's Nara or Ornn, and give Kaiwing something that can make plays. And boy, did that Leona in the early game make plays alongside Bury on that Xin Zhao.
Absolutely. They just kept on catching MFT off guard here. I feel like MFT, throughout this split, they mainly have been relying on Taco to go into the late game, give them a chance in team fights, but the defensive side for them is not very well hashed out. Whenever they split up, they just open themselves up to 5v4 tower dives, and PSG were able to find, I think at least 2 instances of just straight up tower dive kills onto the carries, with Gory spearheading the initiations there as well. Yeah. So kind of a weird comp for MFT. I expected a little bit more 2-man game from Taco, but they were not able to switch up their game plan in correlation to the tempo. I feel like Taco gave themselves great chances with the early 2 kills. They could have played 5v5 team fight from that point on, and just try to snowball it. Didn't really happen. Instead, they went full split mode. They didn't contest any of the objectives. They got caught defensively, and that just gave PSG too much of a lead.
And you know, it is a shame because you're right. Like, Taco has been old reliable for Meta Falcon team. I feel like more so than less. And for 665, with that Skarner locked in, as you said all game long, shame we didn't get any CC in the lanes, Clement. There was no hard CC. And what lane do you play towards? When
that's a no-pick Skarner. It feels really bad when you have Skarner and no-pick potential.
Agreed. I don't... Yeah. God, I feel like... I don't know. I never want to pull down picks like that, Clement, but yeah, it's hard to talk about as... Oh my god. Gory did damage. The end.
Mm-hmm. He did more damage than about the 3 carries on the other side did combined, and 10 times the damage coming in from the jungler on the other side. So smooth sailing for PSG. I wanted to see if they could play something different. It looks like what they're doing is just going to incorporate Sivir into their existing compositions, which still looks like a very strong blend.
Yeah, it does. Hey, ready? You know what I care about.
All right,
ready?
MVP.
Oh, we know it's Gory. It's just about the percentage. 52. 52%, Clement.
Oh, boy.
Round it up. He deserves it. He definitely deserves it. Gory, what's in his hand, Clement? That's all I want to know.
In his palm, there's one word written.
Oh, yeah.
And that's Azir.
Oh, is it?
I think MFT, they've fallen for the trap. They were like, hey, PSG, you know, last time they lost, they didn't first pick Azir when it was open. Maybe we get to play Azir. And Gory just looks at his palm and says, no, I will first pick the Azir. Gorgie has called me to first pick this one. So it's interesting to see if this Azir is still going to work in 12.4. That's what I'm really worried about, because I feel like PSG are our top team that is most entrenched in the slow durability patch meta.
Sure.
They're very good at it, but 12.14 is a completely new world. And I'm not really convinced that they play anything else.
I mean, we've apparently had things like, you know, Pantheon Talia actually played in the LPL tonight, Clement. So it is going to speed up. That's a crazy thing. I don't know if we're going to 12-14 for playoffs, but at the very least, there's going to be a bit of a break between this week and then playoffs. So yeah, it should be, right? Should be. And there's a lot of adaptations to be made. And for PSG, they've got 3 more games within this meta, but 3 more games to work out where they can go next. It's a big win for them. They're on track to being the first team, but they've, of course, got to fight up against Deep Cross Gaming, who have the easier schedule. But that's enough about PSG. A win is a win there, as they'll pick it up against Meta Falcon team, keep them down at 5 wins. And next up, we're going to see if CFO can keep their momentum moving as well, as they try to take down Sem9 for a potentially easy win. We'll find out.